collective timelines. Is it just me, or does the energy today feel super heavy? Like, I had a whole list of things that I wanted to do today, which started with me wanting to go for a walk, right? I wanted to go for a walk just to kind of release and cleanse and just have some time to just kind of think and meditate. And I could not even walk for as long as I wanted to because all of my steps felt so weighted. Like, I had to text my brother and say, is this just me? That's like, is anybody else feeling this? And my brother was like, no. He was like, I feel very heavy today too. And I was like, okay, good. At least it's not just me. Like, this planetary parade really has this heavy energy about it. Not bad. It's not bad, but it definitely feels very weighted, right? And there's this shop that I've been wanting to go to for a long time, and I was like, okay, today I'm finally gonna take the time to stop and go. So I went and I just got some Florida water and a crystal. They had tarot cards, and the cards they were speaking to me, and I was like, you know what? No, I already have a box full of tarot cards at home. I do not need another deck of tarot cards. I don't need it. So I didn't get it, but the cards were literally calling my name. I almost bought those cards, but I was like, no, I think like technically today, and I guess I didn't like get the memo, but I saw like on Facebook a little while ago, but especially it's supposed to be like an economic blackout. Like, yeah, so it's like a little too late for that because I didn't know that we were doing that. I don't know what it's for. Haven't really been keeping up with that kind of stuff. So it is what it is. I obviously didn't participate since I went to the store and bought stuff today, but it is what it is, right? So I want to talk about this for a second. And this message, I'm going to try not to make it too long because I really want to shower and take a nap. I want to sleep. No, actually, there's one more thing that I need to do today, but I really just so bad want to shower and sleep, right? But before I do that, I want to put this message out really quickly, especially today with the planetary parade that's going on. The energy is so heavy, right? And there are going to be a lot of people that are actually going to be shifting timelines this year, right? A lot of people are going to be shifting timelines. But what I want to say is this, right? When it comes to collective readings, I think a lot of people, when it comes to collective readings, they'll listen to a reading and maybe like certain parts will apply to whatever situation that they're going through. So they'll listen to that. And since like the first part applies, they'll kind of assume that whatever else the reader is saying, that everything is to follow. And what I want to say is like, when it comes to the collective, everyone's not on the same timeline, right? Everyone, even though you have a general mass collective, not everyone is on the same timeline, right? Like some people might be in stage 1, others 2, 3, 4, 5. I only have up to 6 here, but we know like the number is limitless, right? People are on different stages. Because one thing that I do find interesting, right, is that there are all sorts of tarot readers on social media, right? YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, they are everywhere, right? And what I find interesting is that you ever just like listened, or like maybe you're scrolling and you see a short and you listen to like a tarot reader that's pulling cards and they're reading, and they'll be giving details about a situation, and you're sitting there and you're listening to it and you're like, you know what? I was in that exact predicament, but it was like 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, right? It's just because everyone is at different stages of this timeline, right? Like where everyone is not on the same stage, right? So I find it very, very interesting, right? So then when people say things like, oh, you have this money coming in, or you have this new love coming in, or you have this and that coming in, I think where people get discouraged, right? Because then you'll post videos, and I myself have had people do this, where I'll post videos and be like, oh, you have this new love coming in, and I've had people comment and say, well, it still hasn't happened. I guess that's not me. It's probably not. Like, just because you resonate with some of what I'm saying doesn't mean that as a whole that message might have been for you. People will be like, oh, another year is gone. Like, I did one video, I think it was like my most popular video, and it was about child support. And it's a little disappointing that like the most popular one had to do with child support. But then again, like, that within itself is a whole topic. If you have kids with someone and they are not taking care of your kids, then to you, not getting your child support is probably it's a huge deal, because it matters. It makes a difference, right? But I've had people comment and be like, still haven't gotten that money. It's because you're not on that timeline. You're not on that timeline. That video, unfortunately, probably was not for you, because that's not the timeline that you're on. Like, a lot of people listen to videos and they want to get to, like, everyone wants to, like, here I have 1 through 6. So I'm just going to speak about it from this, right? Everyone wants to get the rewards at stage 6, but nobody wants to go through the harsh lessons of stage 1, 2, and 3. Everyone wants to fast track, and you can't do that, right? For the people that are still sitting here and bashing their ex, or let's say you grew up and you had a toxic childhood and you're bashing your parents, or you're doing this and that, if you are still in that mind frame, then you are probably still at stages 1 and 2, right? You're still at the very beginning, and there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean to say anything just because someone is at stage 1 and someone else is at stage 6. It's just a certain lesson that we have to go through, right? Like as adults, right? And especially for those who have children themselves, right? As an adult and someone who has a child, you see how difficult it is being a parent, being responsible for someone else, or if you have multiple children, being responsible for multiple children. You see how difficult it is. So then when you sit back and you think and you look at your childhood, maybe give your parents a little bit more grace, right? Like maybe your mom wasn't the best mom, right? In your eyes, right? Maybe your dad wasn't the best dad in your eyes, right? But recognize that they tried and they did the best that they could. Now, some people are going to go through childhood. Some people went through childhood, excuse me, y'all, I'm exhausted, where it was very traumatizing, where your parents not only did not try, but they did everything they could to make your childhood miserable. If that was your childhood, obviously this message is not for you. But please, for those that had halfway decent childhoods, recognize that your parents tried and it was hard. Like as children, we kind of assumed that our parents had it all together because they were the adults. We were the child. Remember, we had to stay in a child's place. Remember? So we assumed that our parents, because they were the adults, that they had it all together. But as an adult that is sitting here going through life, I'm in my late 30s. And sometimes I sit back and I look and I wonder how my parents even did it, right? My parents got divorced when I was really young. So my mom was a single mom, raising my sister and I before she got remarried. And I have, younger siblings, but my mom, there's a significant gap between the ages of me and my older sister and our younger siblings. But my mom was a single mom for years. And as an adult and sitting here and obviously the economy back then was nowhere near like it is now. The economy back then, if you made a decent amount, you could live a pretty good life, right? You could live a pretty good life. Not so much in this day and era. So I recognize that a lot has changed. But even with that being said, being a single mom, having to take care of all the bills, having to take care of us, get us to our extracurriculars. We're kids, so we're always asking for things. And she always found a way to make things happen. Like my mom rarely ever told us no. And as children, I think we just kind of assumed that if we wanted it, mom was going to make it happen. As an adult, you recognize how hard that is. How hard that is to constantly have to be the one to make things happen, right? So give people some grace, right? Give people some grace. And even if you're someone who's dealing in a situation where you're dealing with someone and you guys might have this toxic relationship or whatever, if it's like family or someone that you have to, now there are certain situations where you're going to have to walk away from certain people, right? There are certain situations where certain people, you're going to have to leave them in your past, right? And a lot of times, for us to get to that stage 5 and 6, for us to get to those rewards, it's going to require some sacrifice, right? It's going to require, because this new life that you want, you can't bring your past life is not going to fit into your new life, right? Those old habits, those old people, those toxic ways, those that all of that stuff from your past is not, there's going to be no room for it. All of that low vibrational activity and behaviors from the people that you entertained in your past, and even some of the low vibrational activities that you yourself engaged in, because we're all guilty of it. None of that is going to fit in this new timeline if you're trying to, because it is possible to shift timelines. It's very, very, very possible to shift timelines. But in order to do that, you have to learn the lesson, right? If you are in stages 1, 2, and 3, you're probably still going through the hardships. But in order for you to shift to the latter stages, you're going to have to learn the lesson. And as long as you're still continuing to vibrate in those same energies, you have not learned the lesson yet, right? And so we have to take a self-accountability. I want to say for stage one, right? Or I'll take that back. I'll say maybe stage 2, right? It's going to be big about self-accountability, right? Self-accountability, right? Realizing, no. I take that back. I'm going to say stage 1. I'm going to say, instead of changing, I'm going to go with what I originally said. Stage 1 is going to be about you taking self-accountability, right? It's going to be about you realizing the part that you had to play. Now, nobody is saying that you are responsible for what happened to you, right? Nobody is saying that. But what I am saying is that there are times when there are certain decisions that we made that prolonged certain things that we were going through, right? Certain decisions that we made where we decided to stay in environments that we knew were no good for us, right? So it's about taking self-accountability. Stage 2 is going to be about forgiveness, right? Forgiveness, learning to forgive the people. And sometimes you have to, and this can be difficult for some, because for some people, and myself included, I used to want closure. I used to feel like I was owed closure, right? And I had to get to a certain stage or a certain point where I realized sometimes I have to accept apologies that I was never given, right? And it's all about forgiveness. It's all about realizing that, hey, yes, there were times where people did things to me with these specific intents to try to hurt me, to try to bring about a certain downfall for me. And if those people are moving like that, then guess what? Those people no longer have room in my life. But then also I have to recognize that there may have been certain times and circumstances where somebody may have done something, or they may have made a decision that I didn't really care for, but it wasn't about me. It was about them doing what was best for them, right? I had to realize that as well. And then once I did, it really helped me let a lot go. Stage 3 is going to be about letting go of the people who were intentionally doing things to try to hurt you, letting them go and no longer giving them space in your life to still operate in that low vibrational activity. And also stage 3 is going to be about you letting go of those feelings of hurt and betrayal just because someone may have made a decision that you didn't necessarily benefit from, but maybe they may have on an opposite side of the spectrum, right? Stage 3 is just going to be about you letting go. And part of stage 3 and stage 4 is going to be you going through that period of isolation, right? You taking the time to kind of step back, to focus solely on self, right? To focus solely on self, your self-growth, your self-care, right? And then going through that isolation period for me, and everyone is going to be different. Like I said, when you go through spirituality, it's like new levels, new devils. I'm just speaking this in terms of steps 1 through 6, because that's what I put here in this little clip art, whatever you want to call it, that I have here. But know that like the stages are limitless. They go on and on and on and on and on, right? Like it doesn't stop. But stage 4 really is about you going into that hermit mode, that isolation mode, you taking the time to focus on self, doing your self-care. Once you get into step 5, that's when you should be at the point where you realize that you need to put you first, right? It is nobody else's responsibility to put you first. It's nobody else's responsibility to make sure that you have what you have, or to make sure that you have what's going to make you happy. It is your happiness is your responsibility, no one else's, right? And the way that all of this works, the way that the universe works is, if you want the universe to start bringing good things into your life, if you want the universe to start recognizing you, to start shining on you, to start bringing this new love, this money, this reward, this happiness, this whatever, this, for someone I'm getting like this new house, whatever it is that you want, right? Everyone talks about like manifest destiny and trying to do manifestations and all this. If you want the universe to start manifesting things into your life, if you want to start manifesting things into your life, then you have to realize that you have to put yourself first. You have to know that you are worthy, you deserve it, and you come first. You have to place yourself first in line. And if you have not gotten to that point yet, if you're someone where you want this new life, but every day you are going to a job that you hate, right? And you don't want to leave because either out of fear, or you don't want to leave because you don't want to disappoint your boss, or you don't want to leave because you don't want to disappoint your coworkers. If you are showing up every day to a job that you hate, and you are, because you don't want to disappoint someone else, then every day you are choosing to disappoint yourself. And as long as you keep choosing to put everyone else's feelings before your own, then you are continuing to put yourself last. So if you are someone that y'all want to know something, that it's not a coincidence, right? It's not a coincidence. But when I say like put yourself first, it means taking that leap of faith, right? It means taking y'all, it's not a coincidence. And when I say like people who make it, I'm not talking about people who were born with money, people who were born and their parents were rich and famous. I mean like your ordinary average Joe that just one day becomes like rich and famous, or just one day becomes, it doesn't even have to be famous, just one day becomes financially stable. Some people don't even want to be rich. They just want to have enough money to live a happy, comfortable, carefree life. Y'all know like the common theme that you'll find is people will be like, one day I just let go. One day I just let go. One day I just left that job. I didn't know. I don't know. Don't do this and say that I told you to do it, right? Be smart about it, please. But you'll hear people say like, one day I just packed up all my stuff and I left. I didn't know where I was going, but I knew I was getting out of here. People be like, one day I just packed up all my stuff and I quit my job on the spot. I didn't know where my next paycheck or where my next meal was going to come from, but I just did it. You'll hear people tell stories of literally them sleeping in their cars, right? Showering at the gym because they just gave it up. And like, it's the way that like spirit moves is that once you take that leap of faith, that's when you're giving spirit the avenue to start moving things in your life. Like sometimes spirit can't move things in your life the way that you want them is because you're too preoccupied with all, you have too much going on. Sometimes spirit needs you to kind of slow things down. Sometimes they need you. There are certain things that you're going to have to walk away from if you want to bring these new things in your life. You cannot take your old life into your new life. If you want this new financially blessed, loving, carefree life, you cannot bring this partner from the past that causes all this drama and turmoil into this carefree love life. If you want this financial blessing, you cannot take this stressful job that pays you way less than what you deserve into this new carefree, abundant lifestyle. The two don't mix. The two don't mix. You cannot take stage 1 attributes or stage 1, low vibrational things into your high vibrational stage 6. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's not going to work. So as long as you continue to hold on to that, then you're not making the necessary changes, and you're not making the necessary room for spirit to bring all of that they want to give you, right? But but it's possible. It's very, very, very possible to shift timelines. But the quickest way and the easiest way for you to shift timelines is to let go of that which no longer serves you, right? But I will say this, as entertaining, right? As entertaining as tarot and oracle can be, people have to stop blaming the readers when their life is not going accordingly, right? Like it's very, I don't even know what I want to call it, right? Disheartening, I guess I'll say, to see people comment in some readers' comment sections like, like let's say you'll have a reader who say, oh, this person is going to call you in 3 days. And next thing you know, a week later, here this person is, I never got that phone call, because that wasn't for you. That was not for you. When are you going to realize like that message was not for you? You are in stage 1. That message was for a stage 4 person. You are a stage 1 divine feminine. And really the way some of y'all act, you are a karmic. But that message was for a stage 4 divine feminine. To me, it just like, and I feel like a lot of people when they first get into spirituality kind of get hooked on like all these tarots. But anyways, to me, it was just so interesting because I remember when I first started getting into tarot and watching tarot readers, seeing someone tell this whole storyline. And I'm like, that is literally word for word exactly what happened to me in the relationship or the situationship that I was in literally a few years ago, right? So like, where's the tarot reader that's talking about what's going on now? Well, you have to find the tarot reader that's dipping into or that's picking up on the energy of the stage that you're at. Because some of these tarot readers, you might be a divine feminine in stage 2, listening to a tarot reader that is dipping in the energy of divine feminine stage 5, right? The tarot readers are picking up the energy of different timelines, just like you have the collective that are in different stages of different timelines. That's just kind of how all of this works, right? It's kind of how all of this works. So you might listen to a reading and think that what the reader is talking about, all of this stuff is going to happen in the next couple of months. But for you, depending upon what stage you're in, it might be a few years out before any of that stuff starts manifesting for you. But if you learn to let go, if you learn to go through the healing process, because it's about healing, right? Y'all want to know something? How I knew that someone from the past was not the right one. And sometimes it's like, what song is that? It's the little things. It's the joy it brings. It's the little things. Is that India.Arie? I don't know. But anyways, it's the little things, right? I remember talking to, or like going through like a reconnection stage with someone from my past, right? And this person had gotten out of a relationship maybe like a couple of months prior. And already for me, that was a red flag, because I'm like, okay, you're still in that rebound phase. You need to heal. And I remember telling this person like, I don't think it's a good idea for us to like hang out or go on a date, because you're freshly out of a relationship and you still need to do some more healing. And this person was like, oh no, I already did what I need to do. I'm healed. You healed, as if it's a past tense. First of all, healing never stops. Healing never stops. Healing is like growing. Not growing physically, but like growing spiritually and mentally and emotionally. It never stops. Healing is a continuous process, right? It's like there's always something new we can learn, right? There's always something that we can improve. Healing is not something that you finish, right? It is a continuous process. It is ongoing. So as soon as that person was like, oh, I'm already healed. No, you're not. Because if first of all, you saying that kind of makes me think that you haven't even started. Because if you were at any point in your healing process, you would know that it's not something that you can complete. It's not a 12-step program. It is not something that you can complete. And even if you're doing, let's say, an addiction 12-step program, you realize that even when you get to the 12th step, you have to continue to sustain. So it's still a lifelong commitment. This is not, no, absolutely not, right? Absolutely not. Sir, go work on self. Go work on self. You are not as far in the spectrum as you think you are. Please go continue to work on self, right? But it's still a beautiful thing. Like spirituality, regardless of what stage you're at, this whole process and even being open enough to go through the process is beautiful within itself. No matter what stage you're at, if you open your mind and you just become open enough to be like, okay, I'm going to start my journey, that within itself is a big step. So pat yourself on the back. Be proud of yourself. But like I said, everyone's journey is going to be different. Everyone's journey is going to be different. You can have some people who have been in spirituality for 10, 15 plus years and it'll still be in stages 2 and 3. Why? Because they refuse to let go. They keep praying and they keep lighting candles and they keep lighting Palo Santo and lighting sage and doing all of this and wondering why their life hasn't progressed the way that they want it to, because you're still holding on. You're holding on to things that Spirit has been telling you to let go of. Let it go. Let it go, right? And then you'll have some people who literally, like I said, will step into spirituality, and 2-3 years later, 4 or 5 years later, you're wondering why this person is like, all of a sudden they got this new job, this new house, they have this new love, this family, this white picket fence, all this money rolling in, and people are like, oh well, this and that, and that's not fair. This is not about fair. What in the world was that? Okay, anyways, it's just not about fair. It's not about fair. It's about doing the work. It's about doing the work, right? But anyways, y'all, it is hot outside. I don't know why. What's up with this weather? Where it was literally 45 degrees this morning, and now it's in the 70s. I think that's why so many people have been getting sick lately, because the random increase in temperature is crazy, especially for this. Well, technically, I guess we're almost March. It's the last day of February, right? Last day of Black History Month. But anyways, I don't know why I'm sweating now, because it was cold when I was first out and about earlier, and now all of a sudden it's gotten really hot, and I'm going to end up getting sick if I don't go inside and shower and change and get comfortable. But anyways, y'all, I just wanted to take this time to talk about timelines, because it really, really does fascinate me, right? Because you'll go, and there are like so many different readers, and it's really about finding the one that's tapping into the energy that you're in, right? Because I find it's so funny, that the one of the readers who I just recently found, Divine Virgo Goddess, a lot of, like, I go and listen to her readings, and a lot of like our readings match, right? A lot of the energy matches, and it's because we're both tapped into the same timeline, right? We're both tapped into the same timeline. So you have to find a reader that's tapped into the timeline that you're on, right? But if you find a reader that's tapped into a timeline that you are not yet on, please don't blame the reader because what they said did not come true and did not manifest in your life. It just means that you're not at that stage yet, because you still have work to do. And like I said, there's beauty in going through the stages. There's beauty in doing the work, right? Because once you do reach, I don't even want to say that final stage, because there is no final stage. Because once you do reach that next level, then you have that understanding that everything happens for a reason. Because mastering self is the ultimate investment. Anyways, y'all, that's the message for today. As always, if you made it this far, thank you for listening. Bye.